Good afternoon and welcome to round 2 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2025 from Sakhir in Bahrain. Last time out, quite a few firsts. A first ever 1-2 for SCMM. 3 new teams in the points and one of them on the podium. And for the first time ever, Holland Racing Team did not score a point from a race. Things are looking to change already, many bringing upgrades, HRT being one of them, and Cesario, who are comfortably third best, might suddenly have catapulted themselves to being in the driving seat today. The question is, will their brakes survive? Because remember, last year it was a little bit of a bloodbath. Welcome. Good afternoon. I hope you're all well. Just me this afternoon. Robin, unfortunately, can't join us and will hopefully be back with us in the near future, but we wish him well. And I wish you all well. Good to see you all. And hello, Robin, speak of the devil. Good to see you in chat. So before we head to track 4 qualifying, let's have a little look at the standings from round 1. And as you'd expect, it is essentially your top 10 from round 1. Ruven Meshida winning his first ever season opener ahead of teammate Philip Pushka. The Vanguard engineering team of Pascal Polens and Axel Flanders behind. Lucas Murno, a comfortable 5th. A fine debut, or I say a debut for United Racing Club, but a return to competition for Aaron Curtis in 6th. Teammate Dominic Rustemeyer back in 8th. Denny Vella in the mysterious Lucky Hamish Racing team in 7th. Peckley in the other Cesario in 9th. Benton Reader rounding out the top 10, a single point for Better Julia. In the meantime, in the Teams Championship, naturally, SCMM and Vanguard into an early lead. Scuderia Cesario level with United Racing Club. And as you can see, of the 12 teams we have this year, half the field yet to score points. So, before we jump to the track, let's have a little look at what the weather is expected to do in Bahrain. And there's no real surprises there. It's no rain, temperatures 21, 20 degrees, so much cooler in the race. Remember, we had those issues with brakes last year. Hopefully, we're not going to get it again this year, but there might be a couple of teams still at risk. So, let's see if we can jump to track and qualifying. Should starting any second now. And we will crack on. And there we are. 15 minutes to qualify. They get to qualify on the lightest fuel possible. And leading is out Pascal Polens, our pole sitter from last time. Couldn't quite convert in the race. Hampered mainly by a jump start. Saw him with an early penalty. Can he recover today? Quite a few upgrades, quite a few things to be aware of. And there was so much to kind of go through in the last stream. There's probably lots of things that we still need to discuss and mention. Lots of bits of news and tidbits and information. I'll try and get it in as best as I can throughout the afternoon. But welcome and thank you for joining us. The Vanguard engineering team, who of course took over from Optimal Esports, taking their slot after 2 years in the sport. They've come in and immediately look competitive. They've brought an upgrade of sorts by way of 12 kilograms of weight reduction. Spoke with team boss Kevin Peters ahead of the race. He felt the car was overweight in Australia. Not bad considering on pole and on the podium. But knowing Kevin, he has a very high standard and he expects them to be competitive. Hoping they can be in the mix once again today. We go on board. Pascal Polens. So often it was Yanis Volborn we saw leading them out in HRT. With Pascal just behind. Now Pascal making sure he's first out. I'm going to set a marker. Heavy on the brakes into turn 1. They're obviously using the F1 layout. No endurance nonsense here, thank goodness. Powering up to turn 4. Hard on the brakes down to 3rd gear, easing on the throttle. And then we snake through 5, 6 and 7. Hard on the brakes to turn 8 before the run to the infamous 9-10 combo. Slightly awkward braking zone here. Very easy. Maybe over-rotate the car while braking and turning. And unsurprisingly, with this being the first flying lap, Poland's going purple. Very much like the colour of his helmet. Approaching turn 13 now. Final sector. A whole train of cars behind him. All trying to get markers down. 15 minutes does disappear very, very quickly indeed. There's no quitting out and jumping back to pits. You've got to go all the way around. You've got to time your laps well. Poland's with a 1:31.1. Laflamme just about 4 tenths back. Maximilian Jaeger in his second race in WMSC. The better Julie just behind. But Gabriel Peckley, a 1:31.13. Surprising stuff there. Got a great lap from him. Pushka splits the vanguards. And Alexander Knežević here for his debut with Holland Racing Team. Missed round one, was replaced by González Cativo. Knežević, the big name move. Originally just to replace Pascal Polens, but with Volborn's retirement at the start of the season, he's hoping he can lead a charge, and he's into 6th. Spoke with Misha Smith, who was on the verge of points before an encounter with a sausage curb in Melbourne. Meant he had a bit of an accident and then was not able to take over the last spot. He was fighting with Dominic Rustermeyer. And spoke with him before the race. He's saying they're feeling a lot better in the car. A couple of upgrades from them. Namely, they've used 8 points, upgrade points, all focused on drag reduction. Mainly focusing on nose drag. In the meantime, Pascal Polens immediately going purple. Another 3 tenths on Pecky. Times are dropping, but here comes Murno. He has yet set a flying time. And as we said, Cesario have brought upgrades this weekend, and despite being comfortably 3rd best, they could be in the mix. Can Murno get it on provisional pole? He can by another 3 tenths of a second. Plenty of track evolution to go in these 10 minutes. Comes Misha Smith. Yeah, despite that late incident in qualifying, had a pretty solid race. But yeah, didn't qualify particularly well, but has now gone 7th, just ahead of his teammate. Knežević pulling in. He's not going to attempt another lap just yet. João Fernando for Bravo Snow Shatton. Remember last year with Magnum Motorsports? Second race for them. What can he do? For a brand new team, brand new entry, not taking over anyone's slot, so starting on a lower rung, it has to be said, with resources. But they can be quite happy with their debut. Gustavo Fragoto finishing the race 12th. João Fernando 15th. In the meantime, Jendrik Beerhoff making his first appearance of the season. Velocita Virtuale, he was replaced last time by Thomas Raschke as a little bit rallycross into turn 1. Meantime, Murno, purple in the first sector. Bails out of his lap there, though. He was only 0.02 of a second down, but he's decided to back off. But you do sometimes see drivers holding off. They don't want to show their hand too early. But Murno is the man on the point for the moment by 3 tenths. Rustermeyer in for 10th provisionally. Great debut for him. First time racing in WMSC at all. Finishing 8th, picking up 3 points for his team. And just to confirm, last time we weren't getting updates from race control, but this time we will, as I've just had a little update from race control. confirming the system's all up and running. So any news we get from race control, I will relay it to you on stream. Meantime, John Palaro, 16th. Here comes Maximilian Jaeger. He had a pretty eventful opening race. Ended up finishing quite a few laps down, had a couple of spins, and then, we believe, disconnected for a good few laps before returning to finish the race. Always appreciate that, when a disconnect happens, drivers come back and just finish, get the running in, and why not? It's a learning experience for Jaeger. So far, 11th, a solid performance so far, comfortably mid-pack. See if he can improve here into the top 10. Green in the first two parts of the lap. And it is just enough for the top 10, knocking Rustermeyer out. And, Peckley, I think we... Oh, my goodness, I think we had a bit of a connection issue there with Peckley, unless he's just had a moment. Just pulled out of something. He was... For a moment, it looked like he was very much getting an extensive tow from Lucas Murno. In the meantime, Pushka, improvement there. Staying third, Meshada into third. The battle for pole slightly hotting up now. Obviously, SCMM will be very happy with their 1-2, but there were complaints from both drivers, and it was visibly apparent that their strength is very much in the turns, in terms of straight line speed, a bit of a weakness. Now, obviously, there are a couple of long straights here, but it's also a twisty circuit, so that particular weakness might be hidden a little bit more. So, still expect them to be competitive, even though SCMM have chosen not to bring any updates for this weekend. Good to see a few team bosses in the chat. Dino, Paul, Henry, good evening to you all. Good to have you back. Magnum not appearing in race 1, but they're here today. We'll see them throughout the afternoon, we hope. From now we are on board with Lucas Murno, who is now a 10th down from Poland's. Poland's now the point man, but he's gone quicker. Up by half a second in the middle sector. That's an incredible improvement. Here we go, charging towards line. What can he do? This surely is provisional pole, and it's into the 1 minute 29s. As mentioned, Cesario, despite being clearly the third best team in round 1 in terms of performance, they've put in a big amount of rear wing drag updates, focusing on drag reduction, estimating to kind of save about a 10th a lap. And it's serving them very well at the moment. It was very much a Vanguard versus SCMM affair in round 1, with Murno just behind in 5th. Peckley let down slightly by the strategy, trying to make the one-stop work, and it just wasn't the one on the day. He was down in 9th. But they're in amongst it much more today, as Aaron Curtis, 11th, just behind his teammate at the moment. And great to see 22 drivers out on track. That is the most we've ever seen in a WMSC race. Representation from all of our 12 teams here today. Just have Lucky Hamish Racing with the one driver, Denny Vella. And if I remember rightly, it's Potenza, who is the only other team missing a driver. And as you can see, they were sporting a carbon fibre look in round 1, which you can see on the graphic. But now they have a livery in place. Very much pulling the Brawn GP vibes of making it work as they go. And Vella does a good job in the points for them on debut. Still the only registered driver. If you can keep scoring points, I'm sure they won't mind. Peckley now coming to the line. He's improving. Can he split up the SCMMs or even further? He does go even further and splits the Vanguards. Gabriel Peckley had such a good season last year for Penza. And now a move to Cesario, very much one he deserved. And he had a solid debut for them, but as I say, strategy let them down slightly. But he's getting the performance there, and he's making sure that Murno will not be alone up there at the moment. In the meantime, Daniel Benton, reader, a solid performer for Beta Julia for the last 2 seasons. Picked up a point again last week into the top 10 ahead of the HRTs. That's good to know you're returning. I wasn't aware you were away, Henry. But I'm glad you'll be coming back. And it's good to have you here this afternoon, and Danny as well. Evening to you. In the meantime, Denny Vela up to 11th. Comes Knezovic. He's tucked right up behind I think it's an Infernal Void car. Or a Velocita, it might be. I apologise. But Knezovic into 4th. And that's a great lap there. Just over a minute to go. This is where people are going to be putting together their final runs. What can Philip Pushka do? He's up into 4th, just ahead of Knezovic. And Ruben Meshda, can he get in amongst it? Meshda qualified on the front row, just ahead of his teammate. Did he go one better and go to the top step? Here we go, charging towards the line. Improvements in both sectors. It's only enough for 5th for now, just behind his teammate. 20 seconds to go. Will he carry on straight for another lap? You'd imagine so. In the meantime, Lucas Murno already on pole. The 10th up, and he's up again in that middle sector. 1 corner to go. Lucas Murno, 1 career pole so far. Can he add to it today and bring Cesario back into the mix? He crosses the line. That's his session over. It is an improvement. 7 tenths clear of Pascal Polands. That's an incredible lap. Can anyone respond? That's a mighty gap for people to pull in. Pushka's not had the best middle sector. He's going to finish the lap. And it's an improvement, but doesn't improve his place. Pascal Polands, though, he's up by 300ths of a second in Sector 1. What can he do over the remainder of this lap? Sparks flying off the curb just on entry there. Keeps it together. Will the new, slightly trimmed down Vanguard engineering car help him get closer? He's down by 4 tenths in the middle sector. It's still going to be an improvement. Flam, in the meantime, up to 5th. But here comes Pascal Polands. Going to have to have been a mighty final sector to try and get him up there. It isn't. Lucas Murno takes pole by almost half a second. And the ebb and flow of the pecking order changing at the top already after just 1 race is superb to see. And it's great to see Lucas Murno, who was in the fight last season, up until picking his first win up at Belgium, just fell back, couldn't replicate that, but he's back today with a brilliant lap indeed. Our provisional grid, Lucas Murno is on pole from Pascal Polands by 4 tenths of a second. Gabriel Peckley, the Cesario in 3rd, an incredible result for him ahead of Philip Pushka. Axel Laflamme ahead of Alexander Knezovic, a great debut result in qualifying for him. For Holland Racing Team, Ruben Meshda will be disappointed with 7th. Daniel Benton is in 8th, sandwiching the other Holland Racing Team car with teammate Maximilian Jaeger. Very good for Better Julia to see them both in the top 10, and a great improvement for both Holland Racing Team cars as well. Both United Racing Club cars just queuing up outside the points, ready for if anything could go wrong. Curtis ahead of Rustermeyer. Denny Vella 13th for Lucky Hamish Racing, the lone entrant from them. Paolo Villami in Magnum Motorsports, his debut for them in 14th ahead of Victor B for Infernal Void. Gustavo Fragoto 16th ahead of Mateus Machado, his first race of the season for Tenza Esports, ahead of Harley Self, João Fernando, and Jean Palauro. And the last two outside the top 20, João Marcos Angeli for Magnum Motorsports, his debut for them and in the sport, and Jendrik Beerhoff, 22nd, his first race this season, returning for Belladita. So, it's going to be very interesting. They were third in the pecking order, it seemed, last time, but now Cesario have a real chance. But can Vanguard, who came close to winning a race on debut last time, maybe still pick up their first win as a team today? It's going to be a fascinating race, and I hope you will join us. We'll have a short break, and then we'll be back for the race at around past. We'll see you very soon. round 2 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2025. You rejoin us just at the end of warm-up, and the race is about to start in a couple of minutes' time. So, before we head into the race session, let's just go through that starting grid one more time. On pole position for the second time in his career, Lucas Murno for Scuderia Cesario. Their improvements have looked very promising indeed. They sandwich last race's pole sitter Pascal Polens just ahead of Philip Pushka, excuse me. Axel Flam is ahead of Alexander Knezovic. A fine excuse me, the grid has just restarted because the session is just changing in the background. Pushka is fourth. Then we have Axel Flam in fifth in the other vanguard, ahead of Knezovic in his debut for Holland Racing Team. Ruven Meshter down in seventh, debut race winner from last time, ahead of Daniel Benson-Reader in the Better Julia. Misha Smith in the other Holland Racing Team car ahead of the other Better Julia car, whilst United Racing Club lock out row number 6. Denny Vella, the lone lucky Hamish racer, is just ahead of Paolo Villami, his debut for Magnum Motorsports. Victor B, 15th, alongside Gustavo Fragoto. Can he get his 12th from round 1? Mateus Machado, his first race of the season for Potenza, alongside Harley Self, the highest Velocita, with João Fernando in the other Bravo Snow, Jean Palauro in the Infernal Void. João Marcus Angeli, his debut in the championship and for Magnum, alongside Jendrik Beerhoff in the other Velocita, rounding out the grid. So today we should have a formation lap. They haven't always worked, and they were tested before the start of the session, and it seemed to go okay. So we are going to have a formation lap this time, and hopefully we don't have the recurring issue where the lights seem to hang and get stuck on the grid. Now, just a little reminder. So tyres have changed from last year. It's no longer the case where they have to select sets of tyres to use. It is just your simple soft, also known as the performance tyre, medium, which is the option tyre, and the hardest tyre, the prime. I will stick by referring to them as soft, medium, hard for ease, and you will note the colours also follow as they do in Formula 1. So red is soft, yellow, medium, white, hard. Everyone's got access to those tyres, and much like in Formula 1, if it's a dry race, which we are expecting today, they have to use 2 of those compounds during the race. Now, as it stands, most of the drivers have gone for the performance. There is no one on the hard tyre. People discovered last time that the hard tyre, while durable, really struggled on race pace, and it seemed difficult to get up to temperature as well. So I think we're going to see more people running the more aggressive tyre. Our top 3 all on the softs, then Philip Pushka on the mediums just behind. We're expecting maybe 2 to 3 stop race, quite high tyre wear, which will make things very interesting indeed. As we roll round, it seems like a fairly uneventful formation lap, although Jendrik Beerhoff has just been warned by race control to speed up a little bit, just so there isn't so much of a gap and having people waiting on the line, which is always a bugbear of the front runners. As we line up on the grid now. Everyone is there. A little gap on the field there. Machado looks like he's starting from the pits. Yeah, Machado has made the decision to start from the pits, but the revs go up, the lights come on, And round 2 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship is go in Bahrain. Mateus Machado briefly to the lead from the pit lane, but it's a good start from Lucas Murno. Chops across to try and cover off from Poland's. No jump starts for anyone this time. Murno's gone deep and Murno's lost it. Poland's is into the lead. Murno just going a little bit deep into turn 2. And Pascal Polands is now in the lead, but Murno's attacking straight back. They go side by side on the run down to 5 and 6, and Murno's back ahead. And they're going to exchange places here all the way down the hill. He's a little bit offline. Peckley now might all of a sudden have a chance to attack at Polands. But they hold off and hold station for now. Everyone seems to be through okay, unless there's some incidents at the back that we've missed out on. Machado, despite starting from the pits, is already up to 19th. And we have a full course yellow. And everyone is now onto the limiter. And that's a bit interesting there that as that is being called, Pascal Polands kind of seemed to jump into the lead. I think Polands knew that that wasn't going to ever stick. Although they are now changing order again. Has that stuck? Has he just snuck up the inside as that was being called? Like I say, I can hear race direction, and I will relay their messages to you, but they were just calling about getting on the limiter. And did Lucas Murno brake too early, or has Polands been cheeky? We'll see what the ruling is on that, but they switched back and Polands is in the lead. Now, obviously, Machado being 19th, we've got both Infernal Voids there, down at the bottom with Fragoto. Has something happened with them, potentially? We'll see if we can work out what's going on in a moment. But we are into a full course yellow, and considering, the first race, everyone's a little bit rusty, it was quite well behaved. Only 2 retirements, no big incidents, but we have a first lap full course yellow here. And we will see in a moment if there's any order, a reorder. But Murno seemed to get the good start. There was a moment of lag, but it seemed like he went deep on the exit of turn 1, and Poland's capitalised. We'll try and find out what's going on. And here we go. Let's start with the race start itself. So, it's a good getaway from everyone. Murno, very quick, chopping across, immediately trying to break the toe, it seems. And go into turn 1. And he's just gone a little bit deep. There is some laggy moments there, but you can kind of get the gist of what's happened. In that he's just split a little bit wide out onto the exit curve of turn 1. But then a great move from Murno to kind of fight back, and they go side by side all the way through 5, 6, and 7. Apologies for the slight laggy moments there. But you get the idea as to what happened. Now we've got Paolo Alami into the pits. A couple of people. Fragoto also into the pits. B as well. Quite a few people picking up knocks there, it seems. I do wonder if there is protestations going on from Lucas Murno to race control at the moment. Potentially about the order of things. So here is what is likely called that first lap issue. Concertino up into turn 4, and Goto is tipped around by one of the Infernal Voids and sent somewhat airborne. Gravity at Sakhir Circuit, clearly more in levels of the moon, but Fragoto there will be disappointed getting caught up there with a fellow countryman, I believe. The Infernal Void Lap 1 curse is sadly revived in 2025. And it looks like it was Palauro who made contact. Palauro is out. Frigoto rejoining the race at least. Repaired behind the other infernal void of Victor B. And here's the moment. So the call is just coming in for the full course yellow. There was a countdown to the happening, and Poland's has just decided, oh, I'm going, and I'm going to take the lead, essentially. He slows right down. Murno goes back through, but obviously, as they come up the hill, does Murno just decide to let him back through? Or does Murno kind of concede, oh, you know what? I was slowing too early there. His race director was giving them a full course yellow countdown. It will, engage limiter in 3, 2, 1. And was Murno just a bit too cautious? Or was Poland's a little bit cheeky? No ruling yet. We will see if they get asked to swap places. But for now, I think we're just waiting for everyone to kind of come back round. B's dropped back. We'll see what happens. B just moving slow. I think he's just going to be caught at the back. Slight mind games here, maybe. I'm not sure if he was trying to stay out the way in case the call came. I imagine there will be a countdown from race direction. Plaro only our third retirement of the season so far. Like I say, it was a very clean and chaos-free Melbourne. Very entertaining race. Lots of good battles, which many were concerned about, considering there's no DRS now. Push to pass that was in season 1 is long gone too. But despite Melbourne not being the easiest place to overtake, we got quite a few good battles. But we are looking forward to hopefully a few more here at a circuit that's got quite a few more braking zones and places to make moves. Pilar will be disappointed. He got 13th on debut. So, as it stands, provisional order, Pascal Poland's from Lucas Murno. Peckley holding station in third. Axel Flam up 1 to 4th. Reuven Meshida, a great start from him, up from 7th, whereas Pushka, who started 4th, has dropped behind his teammate. Knezovic dropping 1 to 7th, and the two better Julias, Benton Reeder and Jaeger. Curtis and Rustermeyer again getting those United Racing Club cars on the verge of points in this early stage. Misha Smith clearly getting caught up in stuff down to 12th, but at least in the mix. Harley Self in that Velocita, though, from 18th. Now currently 13th ahead of the lone lucky Hamish car, Danny Vella. See the big mover there, though, Frigoto getting caught out. Started 16th, down in 20th. So, not had anything from race control yet. I think there are discussions. I think what we are waiting for is potentially trying to establish what the order should be. Because everyone who's needed to make repairs has made it. Obviously, they can't bunch up because they're all on the limiter. So, I imagine there are protestations going on right now about who should be in the lead of this race before we go green once again. And there's no doubt about it. It was definitely a cheeky move from Pascal Poland's. Was it a legal one? And that's what they're going to be working out. Very similar situation where the Vanguard cars are in the top 4. They've got 2 red cars to fight against them. It's just a different shade of red compared to last week, with Meshida and Pushka right behind Knezovic, 7th for Holland Racing Team. Like we said, they've only Never failed until last week to score points in a Race Holland Racing team. Of course, a whole new lineup. Big changes. But Misha Smith almost scoring despite a late incident, and he's very happy about the car. Feeling very confident. Checking. So Paolo Villami also stopped. Wanted to check if he's changed tyre. He hasn't. That might be a damage thing more than anything. So, as it stands, wow, okay, so we have just had an announcement from Race Direction that essentially we have to sort out a situation, and it will continue for a minimum of 1 minute. They are going back to have to analyse who should be in the lead of this race. And Robin, absolutely right there. Very much like Monza 2023, where he tried to gain a sneaky advantage when the virtual safety car was called and let the car kind of roll to a stop. But that wasn't what should have been done. It was in the regulations that he needed to stop immediately and get down to under the limit in a safe manner. And he gained a lot of time on the car ahead just by kind of being a little bit cheeky. He was penalised for it. Has Pascal Poland's done the same, or has he just been smarter than Lucas Murno when it comes to the timing? Because obviously you guys did not hear it, but there was a countdown from Race Direction saying full course yellow will start in 3, 2, 1. And Pascal Poland's just drifted through into the lead as that was happening. It's very hard to tell. The Race Direction will be looking over that now as best they can, trying to work out, well, who should lead this race? And obviously, as you guys know, you can't hear Race Direction, so they can't look back at the stream and go, okay, he's nicked in. They're basically going off by reporting of it, which may not be to time. And a verdict is coming in now. So there will be a countdown to green. Full course yellow is ending soon. There has been no change at all to the order. So Race Direction saying it will end soon. There will be a countdown of 3, 2, 1, and then at green, they can essentially disengage the emitter and go racing once again. So from that, I take it to mean that Pascal Polands has been adjudged to have taken the lead just on the right side of the law. I'm sure Lucas Murno would be very frustrated. Okay. The countdown's on. 3, 2, 1, green, and we are go again in Bahrain. A controversial start, and immediately it's a very aggressive block from Axel Laflamme as Pushka looks to get at the inside, and he has just managed to get the block, but his exit is compromised. Bit of a twitch there, but it seems like Polands is able to lead away okay. But the SCMM's now looking to swallow up Laflamme. Pushka on the inside. Meshida going to the extreme inside. I think they go 3 wide. Murno waving about in the baking zone. The better Julia has just come up between them. The straight line speed of those SCMMs is just so poor to the point where, despite having the better exit down that straight, Laflamme can hold them off, and now Daniel Benton Reader has split them. They are going to have a look at the straight line speed of that car, because that has been a massive Achilles heel in the restart now, and what could have been a gain of places could see them in problem, and we have penalties for Machado, Frigoto, and B. But Fragoto is being penalised as well for something. The exact nature of those penalties will be determined. But it's penalties further down the order. And it's all happened. We've only had 5 laps and basically only 1 or 2 laps of actual racing. But a lot of incident already. Now, Lucas Murno. Immediately he's looking very dangerous in the slipstream of Pascal Poland's Vanguard. 10 points of rear drag reduction taken off that car as an upgrade, and it's going to be very useful indeed as he moves out from the slipstream into braking to turn 1. He sets the new fastest lap. Is he going to go deep again? Can Poland's make the switch back? I don't think so this time. Lucas Murno into the lead. Is there a chance for response up the hill to turn 4? Poland's is tucked in right behind. Forces Murno to go defensive, and Poland's is going around the outside. And it's almost a replay of lap 1 where they go side by side. And Poland's chops across. And Murno's not getting away that easy. We could be in for a very interesting afternoon with the differences in the way these cars have been upgraded. This could be very close. So, Murno tucked right up behind on the exit of turn 10. Will he look at a move into turn 11? Again, looking really dangerous, tucked up under the rear wing. He's going to have a little look. No, just to try and maybe get him looking in his rear mirrors rather than at the upcoming apex. But as it stands, Poland's and Murno just getting a little bit of a gap to Peckley. Obviously, these 2 straights now very important. So, all about the exit from turns 14 and 15. Technically, that little kink just on the exit of 14 is also another turn. I'm a traditionalist, I'd say that's just 1 turn. But is this going to be one overtaking move from Lucas Murno? So, same again. He's a lot closer this time. Is he going to be able to kind of get back onto the racing line and not compromise it as much? No, it's almost exactly the same. So Poland is going to look to do the same again. Which way does Murno go to defend? Ooh, he doesn't. Oh, interesting. Poland decides to back out of going up the inside and just sticks with him. So it'll be interesting now as we wind through the twistiest sections of the track if Poland can stay with him. But Murno hangs on, and I wonder if Poland's made a deliberate decision to not fight that. Or if he just didn't think the move was quite on. Both of these guys on the same tyres. The top 4 in fact, all on soft tyres. Philip Pushka, the highest runner on the mediums in the meantime. Daniel Benton-Reeder, still ahead of Ruben Meshda after that restart. It's remarkable to see the team had both cars in the top 3 of qualifying in round 1, who ended up with a 1-2 in round 1. In a track that, has a lot of straight line speed moments. Here, it seems to be these 3 big straights, the run from start-finish straight from 10 to 11 and from 13 to 14, that is really hampering SCMM progress. And Daniel Benton-Reeder, a regular feature in the points. And you can see there, Meshda getting close in the slipstream. But he pulls out, and there's just no ump there. You're going to have to watch out for Aaron Curtis behind in the United Racing Club car. Interesting enough, I don't know what happened to Dominic Rustemeyer. They were together, the United Racing Club cars, but he's dropped a few spots behind Vella, Jaeger and Smith. A reminder this year, points are the top 10. Point system 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it was just the top 8 last year. But now as it stands, Misha Smith is in the points, as indeed the other HRT. So, Meshda, close once again. This is going to be really difficult for him to make the move. And the thing is, if he makes a move, down the start-finish straight. And to be fair, just another straight that's hampering them is the run from 3 to 4. But if he does make a move down that start-finish straight, he's going to be immediately required to defend on the approach to turn 4. And will he have enough straight line speed without the toe of a car ahead to be able to fight off? There's about half a second between them at the minute. Oh, and he's had to... Curtis is going through. He half thought about defending the move. They concertina up through turn 1. Meshida leaving it in, forcing Curtis to have to really leave it in. They go side by side through the exit of 3. Curtis is going to look again, maybe to the outside this time. Curtis hangs it round out there. He's got the softer tyre, so he should have a bit more grip. Curtis now is the main concern of Reuven Meshida, our race winner from round 1, the current championship leader, and he's having to fight off Aaron Curtis, who, just a reminder, raced in season 1 of the championship in 2023 for Infernal Void. Best result was 6th. Sorry, it was 8th even, I apologise. And came in to United Racing Club and beat that immediately with a 6th place finish. So has looked really, really settled on their return to the sport. And now is currently trying to take on Reuven Meshida, but had to bail out there. Oh, and now they've been caught off guard, having to bail out of that move. They've lost momentum, and Misha Smith is back ahead. Can Curtis come back on the run to turn 1? They're going to stay alongside. Are they going to try and outbrake? No, they tuck back in. So Meshida survives, and just from having to bail out of that overtaking chance, that's cost Aaron Curtis a place for now. But some fascinating battles developing in the early part of this race. It stands, Murno has checked out at the front from Poland's. Poland's is holding Peckley at arm's length for the meantime. It will be interesting to see how strategy comes into play if we're expecting at least 2 stops, maybe 3. Curtis and Rustermeyer on differing strategies at the moment. Curtis going on the soft performance tyre. The majority of the leaders opting for that more aggressive tyre. Most of the field at the moment on the options medium. In the meantime, without having to defend from Curtis, Meshida has slowly reeled back in Daniel Benton-Reader. So, we'll gain a little bit of time down the main straight. Can he get a good exit throughout the complex of turns 1, 2 and 3? Tucked in behind. Benton-Reader seems to just have enough there. This could be a frustrating portion of the race for Reuven Meshida, because without that straight line oomph, in a struggle. And there's a couple of factors at play to consider here with this. It's not just car philosophy. There are different engines within WMSC. This season there are 4 different engine manufacturers, and then 2 generic NPC engines, if you like, that are maybe not quite as good on performance but good budget options teams. As it stands, the only car using one of those engines is Velocita, using the Hero engine, it is called. Or Herault, if we pronounce it phonetically, Herault. Then everyone else is taking up a manufactured engine. Here, you're seeing a battle between a Cesario-powered car, in the form of the Better Julia, and SCMM, who have their own engine. Stands. That engine is 10 horsepower slower. Oh, but there's contact! Contact between Meshida and Benton Reader. Oh, and that will be interesting. Did Benton Reader defend too aggressively, or did Meshida misjudge his position in the braking zone? Usually it is the car that's behind in incidents like that gets the blame. Meshida is through, but will he face punishment for that? That is not the way he'd have want that fight to end. Let's have a little look. On board with Ruben Meshida. So, using the slipstream to close in. Looks to move out to the right. Oh, and he just kind of moves in a little bit early while Benton Reader keeps going across track. We have seen some connection issues, so maybe there was a bit of a glitch for someone there, and maybe that, you know, Reuven saw a little jump. But based on that, I think Ruben Meshida... I'm not sure. It's hard to tell, actually, because, like, yes, he's the car from behind. He braked. But they were both moving towards each other. I'm finding that one difficult to call. Would love your thoughts in chat about what you think about that one. But Ruben Meshida, in the meantime, is for now 7th. Benton Reader back down to 10th. Both seemingly undamaged. I wonder if there is a little bit of front wing issues there from that. In the meantime, Misha Smith looking to try and make the move at the inside of Aaron Curtis. He goes side by side. Oh, and Curtis gets the better exit, and Smith has to bail out wide over the curbs. Can he use the momentum though to try and attack Smith up to turn 4? Not this time. But Smith typically seems to run really well in race trim. Did not qualify well in Australia, and like I say, until that late incident, had made up quite a few spots beyond the verge of points. So even if Smith doesn't qualify in the best of positions, from what we've seen of them so far, typically seem to make decent progress in the race. And it was the exact same last season in the few races he ran for Velocita. Continually qualified 13th and below, but finished 9th, 8th, 11th. In the meantime, the other HRT is reeling in Philip Pushka, and look at how much of a sitting duck that SCMM is. They didn't bring any upgrades this weekend. Might be saving their upgrade points. But I think I know what the votes are going to be to change in that car. So as mentioned, 4 different engine manufacturers. Cesario is the engine with the most horsepower. Oh, Smith is past Curtis. Got the move done into in turn 1 by the looks of it. Smith will now look to reel in the back Meshida, and based on how easy it was for Knežević, if Smith can get into the slipstream, he might have an easy job there. So here we go. So Curtis had to try to make it difficult, forced Smith to make a decision. Was a little coming together in the apex, just getting it slowed down, but no harm done there. Decent move from Smith. Apologies for my slight pause while that replay was playing. It was just an update from race control. No further action between Ruben Meshida, Daniel Benton Reader. So seen as a bit of a racing incident, and like I said, I found it difficult to call. They were both kind of moving towards each other in the braking zone. Usually with incidents like that, the car from behind is more culpable, but when they're both moving towards each other on track, it's hard to call. And who knows, maybe a little bit of connection issues did play their hand in that as well. Unfortunate for Benton Reader, running well, but at least still in the points. Meantime, Curtis trying to fight back against the Holland Racing Team car. But yes, as mentioned, SCMM engine is down 10 horsepower on Cesario. Vanguard have also brought their own engine this season. They joined the manufacturing game. Same amount of horsepower as the SCMM. But interesting to note as well, durability for engines is a factor this season. As races go on, these engines lose horsepower. And every single car has a maximum of 3 engines to get them through the season. And they can switch between those engines whenever they want. So everyone who has stuck with the same engine from Australia has lost a little bit of their original maximum brake horsepower. Whereas any teams who decide to switch to one of their other allotted engines, they will have more power, but obviously they'll be wearing out more of their engines. So it's another strategical thing to consider, and it's another factor within the engines as well, because each engine has different durability. And what's interesting about the Cesario engine is it's got the most brake horsepower, but has the least amount of durability. SCMM and Vanguard engines much more durable and much better on cooling. The Magnum Motorsport engine is the slowest of the 4 manufacturer engines, but is very good on cooling, fuel consumption, and comes with a 12 kilogram weight reduction, the most of any other. So, all with their pros and cons that the drivers and the team bosses have to consider with using and then obviously managing those engines throughout the season. Now, most teams have stuck with the same engine, using their first allotted engine. But Vanguard Day, both their cars are using a fresh engine, meaning they will be trying to maximize their power out of it as much as possible. But all will come into play when they're fighting each other on track. Meantime, Dominic Rustermeyer caught up with Beta Julia of Maximilian Jaeger. These two both in just their second WMSC race. Rustermeyer scoring points last time. Jaeger having a bit of a rough day, but much improved from him already. Good qualifying result, running just outside the points. I'll have to see what he can do. It's not over, still a long way to go. Bit of a prolonged yellow in Sector 2. See what happens. In the meantime, Misha Smith has reeled in Reuven Meshida. And I think that prolonged yellow might be the fight between these two. It's Harley Self versus Gustavo Fragoto. Fragoto already in the pits once today and was handed out a penalty. As it stands, Fragoto ahead of Self at the moment. Bravo Snow Shatton. A solid start to their time in WMSC last time out. Slightly rougher day today. In the meantime, Paolo Alami is in the pits. Not sure if this is going to be for a scheduled stop. It is. So Alami out. At the minute it's showing he's gone onto the mediums. So we'll confirm that. Alami did start on the softs. So, lap 17 for him. And Poland's is in as well. And we are starting to see the pit stop. So it's going to be lap 18 for him. Pascal Poland's was on the soft. So it's only about 17, 18 laps that those soft tyres are lasting. So this is an important time for those two SCMM cars, because they are on the mediums and they will have a bit more durability. In comes Daniel Benton Reader, though, who is interestingly also on the mediums, but he did have a bit of a slide from that contact with Meshida, so he might have a bit more wear than others, and it's going to be a double stack situation by the looks of it. Oh, and Jaeger's being held up here. That's not ideal. And is Benton Reader getting damage repaired? That is not an ideal stop for the better Julias there. Oh, so, and we've just had an incident noted between Fragotto and Self. So there was clearly some tangling together that caused that yellow flag before we cut to them. In the meantime, Maximilian Jaeger, who also started on the mediums, has come in. Switch to the softs. It looks like Benton Reader has stayed on the mediums. We will see what the plan is for these two. As I say, it might be two or three stops today. Poland's is the first of the leaders to roll the dice. Drops back behind the SCMMs. But Jaeger losing a fair bit of time there, having to wait behind Benton Reader. Or what was clearly a stop and maybe a little bit of damage repair. So here's what happened between Self and Fragotto. So this is on the run-up to turns 9 and 10. Oh, and Self drops it, and are we about to see an unsafe rejoin, potentially, from Harley Self? There was a road there, but it ends in tyres, so he's having to do a quick three-point turn. And he's going to go side by side, and oh, goodness, so Fragotto does leave the room. A little bit of contact, a little bit of bumping there, but otherwise okay. Understand why there's no action there, really. That's the maybe a little bit cheeky on the rejoin, but space was left. Denny Vella, in the meantime, into the pits. And Filip Pushka trying to get past Alexander Knezovic. Axel Flam is in. And we can hear the car screaming against the rev limiter as Pascal Polands lights up those fresh new tyres with a 1 minute 30.9 fastest lap of the race. And a penalty has been given to Self there. I'm guessing for an unsafe rejoin, I'm not sure. Seems quite harsh based on that. Maybe he was relying too much on the kindness of Gustavo Fragotto to leave him space there. Pushka closing right up here, but then power down and Knezovic is away. Now Murno, is Murno coming into the pits now for his stop? He is. He started on the soft tyre. And it looks like it's going to be a double stack for Cesario. Let's see if this goes better for them than it does for better Julia. Yeah, plenty of time. Peckley still making his way down in the background. It looks like onto medium tyres for him. And we have a slow car in Sector 3 as well. It was just the yellow flag as we ended up watching those Cesario stops. But it's all going ahead now. Everyone's in. Beerhoff is there as well. We've got Knezovic in the pits. And Beerhoff calls it a day. He was a couple of laps down after that early incident. Not the best return. Bella Cheetah for him. Meshida out in the meantime. Flurry of activity at the top there. Meshida out on the mediums, by the looks of it. Unless there's... Oh, my timesheet is saying slightly different. No, he's on the softs. There we go. Quick update. So, yeah, he starts on the mediums, moves to the softs. His teammate Pushka has done exactly the same, which is very interesting that the softs and the mediums have comparatively seemingly lasted around the same time. The mediums aren't running that much longer than the soft tyres, as Meshida straight onto the back of Misha Smith and trying to make the most of that fresh rubber. Smith has also stopped, though, albeit to move in the opposite direction. Go on the medium tyre. So it's really interesting. It's soft versus medium. But once people have got that medium tyre out of the way, if there's no real difference in durability between the two, we might just see people switching to soft tyres. A couple of people have gone on the hard. Benton Reeder, Vela and Jaeger. Meshida looking to make the move into turn one. Oh, it's not that much space. Meshida holds firm. Oh, Smith with a really poor exit from that corner, though. But even still, Meshida struggling to make it past. Going to be climbing all over the back of him on the run down to turn 8. And Meshida's trying to go a little wider line, hopefully get a little better exit. Much closer. This is a good opportunity. Looks right up under the rear wing is Murno. Reasserting his dominance back at the front with fresh rubber, and Meshida's through. Good move into turn 11. Question is, can he build up enough of a gap to stop Misha Smith blowing straight back past him on either of these next two straights? And you can see immediately Meshida has to resort to quite extreme weaving just to try and break the toe. But unless Smith makes a bit of a mistake here, Meshida has got a very good exit. He's done a very good job in those couple of corners. But Smith is coming back. It's a long straight. He might still be able to make the move. Smith to the outside. No, but Meshida just able to close things off. It's a good exit out of green 4. Again, seems to have much better traction than Smith coming out of the corner. And that does save him this time. So, job done for now. Can he get away from Misha Smith? His reward for that would be the other HRT car just ahead of him of Alexander Knezovic. But it is so interesting to see last week's race winner now having to fight back in 7th. Whereas the driver, who was firmly 5th, 6 seconds clear in the lead at the top, Pascal Polans. In the meantime, Axel Flam has caught up with Gabriel Peckley. And this is interesting here because Flam, who started his race on the soft tyre, has gone back-to-back on a set of softs this time. So staying with the aggressive move, which means he's going to have slightly more grip. They stopped within the same, I think it was basically within a lap of each other. So both fresh rubber. But that performance tyre is obviously the more aggressive. Can he use that grip to maybe make a move and get into the podium positions? Laflamme, actually on debut for Vanguard last time out, qualified 4th and finished 4th. Even led a couple of laps of the race early on. Just couldn't seem to make the hard tyre work for him, and he lost out on time. But now chasing a first podium for Vanguard. What many will remember had quite an incredible podium for the Costech team. It was bought out by Lucky Hamish Racing. The Costech seen as a bit of a backmarker side. but ends up getting in the points multiple times. Axel Flam. Those responsible for their best ever result in the sport. And push on with Vanguard. In the meantime, Gianmarco Sanghelli for Magnum Motorsports Racing. Coming out just behind his teammate Walami. And Gustavo Fragoto running up in 15th now in the Bravo Snow Shatton, considering he was tipped round, has had a penalty and gone right the back. I don't think he'll be too displeased with being back up in 15th, but he is trying to shake Mateus Machado. Although that's not Mateus Machado, that is the leader, almost Fragoto. Not quite adhering to blue flags there. We're getting out of the way of, I believe that'll be Poland's. One of the side effects of having two new teams and lots of new faces is we haven't covered everyone in great detail throughout the stream so far, especially when round one, new rules, new things to consider, and it was quite eventful. So good to see a few other teams, how they're running this afternoon. As it stands, our closest battle on track for position is seemingly, oh my goodness, is seemingly Peckley versus Laflamme. Just come up against the Magnum Motorsports car, who didn't quite get out of the way, and that's really compromised Peckley. Laflamme's going to go to the inside, and I think Peckley will be very unhappy with Marco Sanghelli there. Peckley's spinning up his wheels just on the exit there. Yeah, I think he'll be slightly disappointed that his run through turn 14 was very much compromised there. Sanghelli clearly didn't realise he had a car on the inside, and it caused Peckley to be a little bit hesitant. But it'll flip back the other way. They've got the other Magnum of Paolo Walami up next to try and clear, and Laflamme has caught up to him at the braking zone again, and he's had to follow him through, so he's going to have his line compromised a little bit. Blue flags should be waving, and he's going to bail out of it, and he bails all the way out of it so Peckley doesn't get caught behind. Now you can see our teams of the respective runners. Scuderia Cesario leading first and fourth place, Vanguard Engineering second and third. The SCMMs, who had a 1-2 last time, are down in 5th and 7th. Holland Racing Team, who didn't score any points, 6th and 8th. The changing fortunes, quite remarkable. United Racing Club, though, currently one driver in the points with another better Julia between them. In the meantime, the Magnum Motorsports boys are going to go racing. A good move there from Marco Sanghelli, who's caught and passed Villami quite quickly. Oh, and a bit of a moment there for Villami. Hangs on. Oh, well, good. He has a little half-hearted look into turn 4. And there has been a warning for Marco Sanghelli there for not recognising blue flags from race control, and that is quite understandable. I imagine Gabriel Peckley had plenty to say on the matter, because now it has knocked him out of the top 3. So far, Laflamme is making the most of that and has managed to pull up the gap. Remarkable to see this new team come in, get settled and be very competitive. But it's just even more remarkable that on both occasions been another team that's just pipped them to it, and it's not even the same team at the minute. At the minute, Cesario leaping forward. Flamno's a good 12 seconds to his teammate. Now, there is something else to be aware of as we enter the second half of this race, and we're not expecting it to be an issue this year. But many will remember that last season there were only 8 finishes in this race at Bahrain, due to the majority of the field having brake issues due to the temperatures. And that affected so many people. In fact, there was a handful of those 8 finishes that were also nursing the car home as a result. This season, it should be much less of a factor in terms of being as widespread. However, it is still going to be down partially to car setup and, again, the upgrades that the teams have chosen and, who has decided to prioritise brake cooling. And there are a couple of teams who haven't prioritised brake cooling as much as others. Those 2 teams are Beta Giulia and Scuderia Cesario. So Lucas Murno is 8.7 seconds at the front, but he will hopefully be having one eye on his brake temperatures. As we saw in the forecast at the beginning, because obviously it is later in the evening, temperatures not as high as they were in qualifying. But we'll see if it's a factor for anyone today. But for Scuderia Cesario, it will concern them. It's something that they will both be aware of. Compared to other teams, they have not invested as much upgrade points in brake cooling. So, keep an eye out for it. We'll see if it affects anyone. But we are on lap 29 of 56. Paul there, the team boss from Thermal Void and Velocita, still holding out that will gain a few places. Victor B is at least back up 14th after those early moments. There's still a chance for him to pick up something, but he is going to need a little bit of nonsense ahead of him. Self, though, running out the back, 34 seconds down on Machado in the Velocita. Yeah, Peckley, unfortunately, losing out to that uncompliant Magnum Motorsports car, and now the gap has gone to Laflamme. His only saving grace is hopefully that he's on the medium tyre compared to Laflamme being on the soft, so in the hope that maybe throughout the course of this stint, he'll be able to reel him back in as his tyre has the slightly better durability. As we saw, despite the fact that it was a split of drivers started on the softs and medium tyres, they all stopped around the same time between lap 18 and lap 21. But it seems like the wear is not hugely different between them. Here we are with Dominic Rustemeyer, slowly trying to wind in Daniel Benton-Reader. Benton-Reader will be very much frustrated. He was, running 7th before that contact with Meshida. And now, because of the spin, losing in places, and then the time that cost him from his long first pit stop repairing the damage from that incident, 24 seconds away from Pettis ahead in the other United Racing Club car. Rustemeyer is now reeling him in. And it's interesting, Benton-Reader, one of those few drivers on the hard tyre. Just got a clip of Denny Vella there, who's one of the others. So we were not expecting that many to be running the hard tyre, because of the race pace just doesn't seem quick enough to, offset the pit stop it saves you. Benton-Reader is giving it a go, and this will explain why Rustemeyer, on the softs, is reeling him in. The softs have been going, though, for about 10 laps. So, based on evidence, about halfway through their stint. But I do think the majority of the field have already basically fulfilled their requirement to need to run 2 of the 3 available compounds. So from here to the end of the race, it's free hit territory. They can just run whatever they feel most comfortable with. The only notable exception to that at the minute is La Flamme, third, who has run the soft tyre twice. So he will have to make a switch, I imagine, to the mediums. Rustemeyer, within a second of Benson Reader, will likely use the twisty sections of the track, that extra grip, to try and wind him in. Benson Readers have that Cesario engine in it, the most powerful engine on the grid. Going to be putting that to good use. United Racing Club using the Vanguard engine for obvious reasons, in that obviously they're the sister team of Vanguard. So they are running the same engine. Down 10 horsepower, but much better on cooling and durability. And like Vanguard, the United Racing Club cars have also made the decision to run the second of their allotted 3 engines, meaning they'll be using an engine that has its maximum starting brake horsepower, with the engines wearing down each race throughout the season. Really does add an interesting dynamic to things, that they're going to have to manage that, and the different engines have different durability wear rates. And in battles like this, that could make all the difference. Rustemeyer can just close. He's gained about a 10th in that last lap, but we're not going to get a fight. Rustemeyer is in. That's interesting. Like I said, he's only 11 laps in on those tyres. In the meantime, Ruben Meshida has closed in on Alexander Knežević, trying to recover his afternoon, the current championship leader. Bring a little bit of a wider line through there. In the meantime, Pascal Polens is in. Paolo Villami just picked up a warning for blue flags. But lap 33, so only 12 laps for Pascal Polens on the medium tyre. Less time than he spent on the soft tyre at the beginning. Is it just the case that he just wants to use them and get them out of the way, and we'll stick on the softs in the meantime? Knežević has to go defensive. He's going to try and force Meshida the long way round. And Meshida's very, very close. He needs as much slipstream as he can to help that SCMM get past the HRT car. Not this time, though. He's going to have to bide his time, pick his moment. Meshida on the softer of the 2 tyres. Again, these 2 stopping around the same time. So similar levels of wear. But there's obviously still a bit more grip in those softs, and he's sticking right with Knežević. Already pulled 1 move past Smith. But immediately Knežević breaks the toe. Will hold off this time. He has pointed out by Paul Muller in chat. Ali Self also retiring. B is now back down to 19th, presumably after a pit stop. It is another rough afternoon for the Infernal Void and Velocita family. In the meantime, though, good run down through turn 14. Meshida very close this time around. Which way will Knežević go? He's going to go into the middle of the track. You know, he goes to the extreme inside, in fact. And Meshida immediately back onto the racing line. Oh, and he tries to get later on the brakes. Just get his nose in alongside. Force Knežević leaving the space. He's got a slightly better run. He's very close again. Will he look to the inside of 4? He's going to look. Oh, they're very, very close. That was very tight indeed. I wonder if there was a little bit of a nudge there that's just forced Knežević out wide. Meshida angling his way through there. Clearly looking a little bit quicker on track at the moment, but he is just hampered by the fact that the SCMM really struggles in a straight line, but he's using that extra grip in those soft tyres to try and pull out a gap so Knežević can't just respond immediately down this straight running from 10 to 11. Meshida back up to 6th. Meantime, João Fernando, Bravo Snow Shatton chasing a car from his former team. The Magnum of Paolo Alami just ahead. A little bit of a train of them. It is Magnum Bravo from 14th down to 17th. And Paolo Alami just trying to break the toe. As mentioned, you may have spotted the DRS board, but there is no DRS this season, so slipstream is an all-important factor, even more so important if you're going to try and get a move on. Apologies for that little crash, little moment there. F's in chat indeed. We are back. Apologies for that minor interruption. We return back on board with now Fernando Labau, who is ahead of Paolo Alami now. A classic ITV era style commercial break at the worst possible moment. Fernando is past Paolo Alami up into 14th. Also worth noting that of the top runners, only the Vanguard Engineering cars have stopped twice. We'll look there. And here's the moment on the run into turn 11. I feel like Alami gave space, but was almost a bit too respectful there. Compromised his line. And the Bravo Snow Shatton car up into 14th. So as it stands, Lucas Murno is your race leader. We have Philip Pushka of the SCMM just in making his second stop. Flam will regain his spot from there. Pushka rejoining in 8th. As it stands, Lucas Murno only stopped once, hence his current very large gap, but has been absolutely superb. It's regaining the lead after the restart. Just looked like the fastest man out there today. Currently also holding the fastest lap of the race. Remember, there is a separate prize for the fastest lap competition this season once again. No points for the fastest lap, but the driver with the most fastest laps throughout the season wins a cash prize. At the minute, Poland's leads with this one fastest lap prize so far. In the meantime, Philip Pushka out on fresh tyres and straight back past Misha Smith, not messing around there. Smith is yet to stop again, so we'll likely not have the rubber to fight that. Pushka trying to maybe gain as much ground as he can while using soft tyres. Doing my best to keep up with strategies as best we can, try and predict things, and we see Knežević and Mešida both in. Both of these drivers have already chosen the separate compounds of tyre. In the meantime, what's going on here? Paolo Wilami on the run down. Oh, and just drops it. And there's going to be a full course yellow. Everyone has engaged the limiter. We have just gone to a full course yellow. I'm not sure what that is. In the meantime, Murno is in the pit. That's going to do him a lot of good. He's going to lose a lot less time now, so he can time that to perfection. But unsure as to what that is. In the meantime, Peckley's ahead of Poland's, and it's Vic B. And it is a full house for Infernal Void and Velocita. They're all out. The only 4 retirements today. Paul Muller in chat, I am so sorry. It's a rough afternoon. So, everyone who's just stopped is about to lose out a little bit. Murno has been able to complete his stop and get in and out and get onto the soft tyre with ease. Let's see what happens to Victor B. We're coming down to the final turn. And it's just died. Oh, was that a disconnect or a hardware issue? That's very strange. Something has definitely died. That is a very odd thing. Maybe some kind of hardware issue, I think, there, looking at the jerky movements of the steering wheel. Ah, thank you for clarifying, Paul. Pedals have stopped working. So frustrating when that happens. It is one of the things of sim racing. Reliability of your virtual car, reliability of your real-world parts and equipment. Dear me. Victor he's clearly tried to keep going. He's made sure he stayed off track at least, but he continues to try and fix it all the way up here. But then ultimately has to call it quits in the wall just to the right of turns 2 and 3. So this is going to be interesting. Poland's is now ahead of Peckley. Has Poland's just been able to jump Peckley in the pits, I think. He definitely was tucked up right behind him before that replay started. I think Pascal Poland's has just been able to get ahead in the pits. Remember, that is another element that all the teams can upgrade. But has it played difference here? So, as you can see, we saw Peckley right ahead of Poland's. They're coming for their stop. Okay. Yep, he's done it. When they go side by side, and as that replay was playing, once again, Race Direction has said, we're trying to sort out a couple of situations. I wonder if, again, Peckley's not particularly happy he's been able to get ahead, but it did look like, fair and square, Poland's was the quicker stop. So I think The differences in pit crews have meant that Pascal Polens is now ahead of Gabriel Peckley. And once again, Pascal Polens gaining spots in a virtual safety car. B has now been able to retire the car. We're on lap 40 of 56 in this virtual safety car period. Peckley is going to be chomping at the bit and get ahead. So Murno, obviously a big benefactor. He'd not made his second stop before this period began, but did so under it. And now, as a result, he has a 22-second lead. But Polens and Peckley now right together. Laflamme stopped before the virtual safety car, which means he managed to take Peckley before. But now he's 14 seconds down, so has lost out there. Pushka, in the meantime, was trying to make the undercut work. He's down in 5th. Misha Smith has now been able to get ahead of Meshida and Knezovic. And because he stops late, he used the virtual safety car. And it is Curtis Benton Reader from Vela, Rustemeyer down in 12th. But this is going to be the big fight now. Can Polens keep Peckley behind? Peckley from 4th place, potentially fighting for 2nd. Could we see a back-to-back? So it's technically not a back. It's a back-to-back 1-2, but 2 1-2s, but for different teams in the first 2 races of the season. SCMM last time. Cesario going for it today. And remember, Peckley performed so well for Potenza, one of the backmarker teams last season, getting them points on multiple occasions, rewarded with this drive. And he's showing he absolutely deserved to be rewarded. He looks to fight for a podium. Previous best result in the sport were the 2 5th places he got for Potenza last season at Hungary and Portugal. So, fighting for his first ever podium. Once again, Pascal Polens in the mix, but just not at the very top. Losing out again, like many have at the timing of that virtual safety car. So a lot of people have chosen to do short and middle stints, regardless of the fact of whether they're on the medium or the soft tyre. I think it is likely this will be everyone to the end in terms of pit stops. They run for the same amount of time they ran their first stints. Everyone can run on these tyres to the end. I think most people will. They'll have race control just sorting out a couple of issues. And full course yellow is going to be removed soon. Countdown imminent. But we are about ready to go racing once again. And notably again, no change in order between Pascal Polens and a Cesario. He's managed to overtake legally under full course yellow. This is going to be very interesting when they go green. On the run down to the final corner here, but Peckley is going to be immediately on the attack. Both of them on the soft tyre. In fact, the top 8 all on the soft tyre. Making that decision to finish on the most aggressive rubber. It's often seemed like the best tyre to be on. Here we go. Oh no. It's João Fernando has been asked to let Knezovic pass before the end of the full course yellow. We're just getting a back marker out the way of a front-running car. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. We are go. And immediately, oh, dear me. Peckley clearly got the jump on Poland's, but did not quite get his spatial awareness right and ended up bumping Poland's forward. Peckley straight through. Almost botched the execution of that, but very much had the better reaction times. And Peckley is into second. But Poland's is going to try and fight back on the run to turn 4. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, and that's a fantastic move from Pascal Poland. What a great bit of overtaking that is. And he hangs on. So, we believe these two are both on soft tyres to the end, and they're about to fight it out. Can Peckley make it a 1-2? Or will Poland's manage to fight back and pick up his personal best result for his new team? In the meantime, Bellamy currently fighting with Machado, the last two runners on the field. Not anymore. I think they've just passed some people in the pits. Oh, and they dicing with each other in the braking zone. A little bit of contact into turn 1. Frigoto is through. Frigoto having a very eventful afternoon, it is fair to say. In the meantime, Rustemeyer trying to take on Denny Vella. These two both in the points last time, but changing fortunes of teams around them means they're having to hope for some incidents ahead to help them out, just on the cusp of points. What can Rustemeyer do here? Got the better set of tyres. In the meantime, Philip Pushka takes the fastest lap. 1 minute 30.6, trying to get a gap to Peckley. Going to push as hard as he can to try and stop a Cesario 1-2 today. Meshida immediately takes it off in the SCMM, 1 minute 30.5. Not got a lot of time. Can he try and reel in Misha Smith for 6th? Quite a few more gaps spreading out this afternoon compared to Australia, that's for sure. Meantime, Bellamy fighting back against Frigoto. Murno goes into the 129s. It's a 129.4 from Lucas Murno as Bellamy thought he had this place, and Frigoto just hangs it out around the outside and holds on. And as they're fighting, Mateus Machado is behind. Oh, but Frigoto wide. Oh, Frigoto goes deep into 4. What happened there? Big mistake. And after that great move to hang on, he goes deep. And now he's in the clutches of Machado. He's managed to hang on. I think Machado's had a moment of their own. No, in fact, they're just adhering to blue flags. Likely the leader, Lucas Murno, there coming through. Frigoto will hopefully duck out of the way on this straight. He does. Which is good for him, because he's been able to have that happen at a good spot. So, Frigoto, here we go. Into turn 4. It's hard to tell what that is. If he just gets down the curve, is it a momentary connection issue? Not sure. A strange moment for Gustavo Frigoto. In the meantime, Murno cutting through traffic. And far and away the outstanding performer of the afternoon. Once he's gotten clear at the beginning. It would be a shame. Something had happened to him now with a back mark that would ruin that for him. You have one eye on the potential of brake issues based on Cesario's lack of cooling upgrades, but so far, there's no need for Murno to push at this point, so he can take it easy. But he has gone and taken the fastest lap back off Poland's and Meshida. In the meantime, Rustemeyer even closer now to Denny Vella. Rustemeyer looking up to turn 1. Not quite this time. A little bit of a nudge through there. Nose to tail. Vella gets the better exit. and we'll hang on for now. In the meantime, love to get your thoughts. We always have a chat sometimes, myself and Robin at the end, about who our driver of the day is. Love to get your thoughts in chat. Who do you think deserves a driver of the day shout? We've got Lucas Murno out front. Been a great recovery from the HRT boys. Aaron Curtis, once again, a fine performance in that United Racing Club car. So a few contenders. Let us know your thoughts in chat for who you think the driver of the day should be. I'm having to get out the way of Poland's, and they'll both have to do the same now for Beckley in a moment. This fight is going to be placed on hold, or potentially even made closer, depending on when these two decide to get out of the way. Surely they'll think about it on this main straight. Bella happily sitting in the toe of the Vanguard car. Lucky Hamish are a customer of Vanguard's. They're running the same engine. So far, Denny Vella is using these few straights to stick with Pascal Poland's. That's helped build a little bit of a gap, but obviously Rustermeyer's just slow for Peckley. Peckley is going to have to come through at some point, so Denny Vella needs to be smart about this, where he can let Peckley through as soon as possible without losing too much time. Is he going to keep him behind through turns 9 and 10? Quite possibly. I don't think Peckley would appreciate that all too much, but he can now dive out the way now. He's not even going to dive out the way. He's actually going to make Peckley go around him. He has to swing back on the racing line. Denny Vella determined not to give up any unnecessary time to fight with Dominic Rustermeyer. But it hasn't worked out completely for Vella. Rustermeyer is close again. Oh, wow, and really closing up under braking there. I think that slight late braking might have cost him on his exit speed. We'll gain a little bit of time down here, but can he try and set something up on the run to turn 4? Hard on the brakes by the 100 board. Through to turn 1, God, and again, a little clattering coming together on the apex of turn 1. Just allowed Denny Vella to be able to get the better exit. Rustermeyer just needs to consider his approach into the braking zones. At the minute, Vella getting the better exits is keeping him ahead. The next straight on the circuit. Oh my goodness, and Rustermeyer again, very deep. Has just compromised his line. We start the final 10 laps. I think it is hard, Danny, to argue against Lucas Murno. Incredible pole lap, comfortably ahead. And then even though Poland's did his very best to try and get ahead in those opening laps, had the lead on the restart once Murno got through. He has been in another world today. Rustermeyer once again trying to reel in Vella. And again Vella quicker coming out of 2 and 3. The last points position is about 20 seconds up the road from these two in the form of Daniel Benton Reader, who would be on for his second consecutive 10th place finish. You never know if something were to happen ahead. Any brake issues, or if there is a coming together late on. As it stands, Heckley is just being held at arm's length by Poland's. Knežević is only 1.3 away from Meshida. We'll have to see if that fight develops. It stands. We've had a lot of gaps spacing out this afternoon, so it's not been as intense as Melbourne was, that's for sure. Here we go, exit from 14 and 15. Again, in the initial phase of the straight, Bella just able to pull a little bit of a gap that Rustermeier doesn't have the straight line speed, even with the help of Slipstream, to be able to counteract. A little bit of a wobble there between 2 and 3. Maybe caught in the dirty air slightly as they pass a slow Magnum. I think that might be blue flags potentially. Even if it's not going to be points for Rustermeier, I think he can be very happy with his debut races for United Racing Club. And a moment on Lucky Hamish Racing, they came in, they only have one confirmed driver for the season in the form of Denny Vella. They had no livery, very few details on them, but they've got a good car, good enough to get points, which Denny Vella did in race 1. And then they brought up grades, 5 points used to reduce rear wing drag. Has to be said, is clearly playing a part here in this fight. It is just keeping Denny Vella ahead for the moment. Even though it's not points today for Lucky Hamish, or at least it doesn't seem like that is the case, it's still a solid performance from them. And they have a livery now. And now Rustermeier, though, is very close. Can he make a move into turn 1? Picks to go to the outside. Is he going to try and switch back, or is he going to try and roll it all the way around the outside? Does, but Vella's got enough pace to be able to just chop across through turn 2. That one doesn't quite work, so Rustermeier will have to try again. Also, I believe I'm right in saying that the team boss of Lucky Hamish Racing, one Marvin Schumacher. As far as I'm aware, no relation. Indeed, Paul, the top teams very much look like they're out on their own. Albeit the top 2 has changed since race 1. Vanguard are still in there, but Cesario very much replaced with SCMM. But how much is that down to SCMM not bringing any upgrades this weekend and deciding to risk not looking at fixing that key weakness that is the straight line speed? They're obviously very good in twisty sections. You can see the difference between how slow they were, or down in terms of time, comparatively to Vanguard they were in the first 2 sectors. Australia. And then that third and final sector. Had a message through from team boss of Vanguard, Kevin Peters. And he feels very much they're taking their maximum that they can possibly think in their situation for the championship. And I think that's the way you've got to look at it. They have at least shown the most consistency of those top teams so far, in the fact that, once again, both their cars are going to finish in the top 4. And no other team can say that they've done that. Zari didn't manage it last time, and SCMM aren't going to manage it today. It's a good result for them. I think the Flam could have easily been on the podium as well, if it wasn't for the timing of that virtual safety car. So, very interesting indeed. In the meantime, Rustemeyer still trying to get close enough to pull a move on Denny Vella. Rustemeyer again, looking pretty close on the run down to the final turn. All about the exit he gets from this one. Much calmer on the brakes. Applying that throttle. There's a little squirm on exit there from Denny Vella. Getting that drag reduction coming into play, but Rustemeyer closer, closer, closer. Does he look to dive out? Speed's there. Does he go to send it? He does, and he's going to force Vella to give him the room. Firm but fair, they stay side by side, good racing. But Vella is able to hold on. Rustemeyer now, will he try and get into 4? Again, tucked under the rear wing, it's not as long a straight. And well held from both of them. Good attempt from Rustemeyer. But solid work from Vella. Gave him enough space. And they've got 4th placed Axel Flam coming up to them, so they're going to have to dive out the way. Obviously, that's a sister team to Rustemeyer, so he's definitely not going to get in the way. Again, it looks like Vella's going to wait until this back straight to yield, and even then, may not pull off the racing line. He doesn't. He's going to make Axel Flam do the hard work. Flam is through, heading towards what would be his 2nd consecutive 4th placed finish. And obviously he only appeared in the second half of last season, but showed real promise in practice and qualifying times, and then started to convert things in the race from Watkins Glen onwards. Would have had a good result in Watkins Glen if not for a hardware failure, and then managed those 2 good results in the final 2 races of the season, topped off by 2nd place in Japan. And he's like Peckley has in his step up to Cesario, he's delivered so far. I think Peckley and Laflamme can both be happy with their first couple of races as Rustemeyer goes to the inside. He's going to try again. He's much more alongside. He's going to try and force Vella out wider. Vella, though, does keep his car in it, but he's not able to sweep through, and Rustemeyer makes it happen. Good move. Solid attempt at defending it from Vella there. But Rustemeyer got it done. He was much closer, much more alongside, and took track position. Good work from him. He's going to need a little bit of luck if he's going to pick up a point today, that's for sure. But both of them can still be happy with the result. When there's a maximum of 24 cars, like I say, with our 22 starters today, we have our best ever attended, most starters for a WMSC race ever. When you're in around 11th and 12th, you're in the top half. So firmly in the midfield. And on the verge of points. If they can keep that up, I'm sure both their respective team bosses will be happy. Meantime, Peckley. The gap's slightly coming down now. Poland's. He's been held at arm's length for a long time. It's down onto 1.2. 4 laps to go. Can Peckley still turn this into a 1-2? Both of them on the soft tyre. Both of them around the same age of soft tyre as well. Oh, and thank you for that update, Danny. So Meneghetti, no energy at home. So it could have been 23. It technically would have been all, yeah, you're right, all 23, because obviously Lucky Hamish only have one named driver. There is technically a seat going. Oh, and speaking of Lucky Hamish, what has happened to Denny Vella as he just tried to get that place back off Rustemeyer, and has it just wrong? He recovers. But that is Rustemeyer very much confirmed in 12th, unless he gets penalised. We'll have to see what that incident was in a moment. So here we go. And yes, back up the inside, Denny Vella. Tries to hang on. It's going okay. Oh, he tries to chop across the nose like he has done previously, unfortunately. Yeah, Rustemeyer was far enough alongside, unfortunately. So he had to leave the space. Maybe he just thought, oh, I'm ahead enough, I'm going to chop across. Didn't realise how far alongside Rustemeyer was. Very nicely choreographed pirouettes from both of them. Oh no, Peckley! Peckley's just hit the rear wing of a Magnum. We have a rear wing on track. And we've had a few near misses with back markers and a couple of warnings with back markers not getting out the way. But Gabriel Peckley has just taken out the rear wing of Paolo Willarmi. Running in 14th. He's going to have to try and be as careful as he can. Get that back to the pits, but let's have a look at this. So, we've got the vanguard at the front of these two back markers. Peckley moves out, and then for some reason, Paolo Willarmi is looking at a move on, I think, Maximilian Jaeger. That would have been in the Beta Julia. And he should have been looking in his mirrors to the point where, no, you don't try and attempt to move when you've got a back marker wanting to come through. And you've got Peckley, who is clearly trying to push in these closing stage. Oh, and an interesting one. Rustemeyer has been given a drive-through penalty for his incident with Denny Vella, causing a collision. Well, very interesting. Some yellow flags waving briefly. I think that is for the damaged Magnum coming back. Although I wasn't sure if it was a glitch, because Marcus Angeli it looked like he didn't have a front wing there in a shot we saw. And I thought that might have been a visual glitch, but it seemed like Angeli had an incident of his own. So both Magnums now are in the pits, getting damage repaired. And if Angeli was in first, Willarmi's going to be waiting, or it might be the other way around, I'm not sure. It's going to be long pit stops for both of them, and they fall back to the lowest classified runners now. An eventful couple of laps there for Magnum Motorsports. Rustemeyer immediately serving his drive-through. Denny Vella will go up to 11th. And I think Rustemeyer will at least hang on to 12th ahead of Jaeger. But Lucas Murno has started the final lap. And what can we say about Lucas Murno this afternoon? A fine pole position. A brilliant lap from him. And Peckley Willarmi is going to be investigated after the race. Angeli out into the wall. That was another odd one. That looked like hardware inflicted. Unless he's just missed his breaking point, but I feel like that was a hardware issue. Yeah, Peckley. I don't think Peckley has anything to worry about there. I think maybe blue flags trump the fact that Willarmi was going for a move. I don't expect to see much from that, but we will see. But yeah, what do we say about Lucas Murno? He was superb this afternoon. Takes pole by almost half a second. Poland does his absolute level best to make a fight out of it. But once he gets clear, though, Lucas Murno is a long way clear. Today, he picked up his second pole of his career. Today, it's his second win. Lucas Murno and Scuderia Cesario have arrived in the 2025 WMSC fight. He wins in Bahrain. And that is very much how you celebrate a win. Solid drive from Lucas Murno this afternoon. In the meantime, Pascal Poland's a great drive from him. This will be his personal best result with his new team and back-to-back podiums. He did everything he could try and get ahead of Murno and get as close as he could, but the pace just wasn't quite there. But another solid result, back-to-back podiums, not to be sniffed at whatsoever from Pascal Poland's, and the consistency is important to keep them in the fight. In the meantime, Gabriel Peckley, unscathed from that late altercation, will come home third. Axel Laflamme, back-to-back fourth places for him. Will feel slightly gutted, I imagine, by the timing of that late virtual safety car, because he was on for a podium today. Philip Pushka home in fifth. SCMM didn't bring upgrades today, and they just need to work on it. But what a turnaround. Misha Smith this time getting points for Holland Racing Team. His best result. Ruven Meshida home in 7th, our race winner from last time. And Alexander Knezovic also in the points on debut for Holland Racing Team. A good recovery from them and a nice way to bounce back. Aaron Curtis, in the meantime, back-to-back points for him in United Racing Club. And Daniel Benton Reader, a second consecutive 10th place in a row. But yeah, Cesario, bring the upgrades. Just one upgrade, but a big drag reduction change, and it suddenly puts them right back in the fight. And they've got the resources, so they will have the ability to respond. They are right in it. So, let's get a provisional look at the results. So we are expecting maybe some after-race penalties for the late Peckley incident, but I'm not sure if Peckley's result will be affected. Lucas Murno wins from Pascal Poland's Gabriel Peckley and Axel Laflamme. Philip Pushka in 5th, ahead of Misha Smith, Ruven Meshida and Alexander Knezovic. Curtis and Benton Reader rounding out the top 10 point-scoring positions. Denny Vella, 11th, ahead of Rustemeyer, who has to have that late drive-through. Maximilian Jaeger, even though it's only 13th, I think he'll be very happy. A much better performance for him today. Qualified well, drove well. Chance for points to him in the future. Fragoto had a very eventful afternoon, but still comes home 14th ahead of Mateus Machado. João Fernando in 16th ahead of Paolo Villami and Marcos Angeli. Both of the Magnums involved in late incidents. They drop down the order, but good to see them both here for the first time this season. And then our DNFs, unfortunately, all from the same family. Infernal Void Racing, Velocita Virtuale, Victor B, Harley Self, Jendrik Beerhoff, and John Palauro. Rounding out our best attended race ever in WMSC history. As ever, we will look to get the top 3 in, chat with them. So bear with us as we look to bring them in slowly from their team chats, and we'll have a little chat with our top performers this afternoon. Going to quickly try and update my little spreadsheet, and we can get a running total on what that does as well to the standings at the top. So bear with me as I do basic maths. I know that's not the most entertaining thing to have to listen to, but considering the changes in the pecking order this afternoon, it will make things quite interesting. Okay. Cool. Right, bear with us 1 second. We will get the top 3 in. The Provisional Drivers' Championship is quite interesting. So, as it stands, based on the provisional results, as it stands, our leader of the championship is indeed Pascal Polans. He will have 22 points. Lucas Murno is second with 21. Ruven Meshida is third with 19. So 4 points separating the top 3. Just 1 point back with 18 points is Philip Pushka. Axel Laflamme has 16 points, is in 4th. Gabriel Peckley just behind them with 12 points. So that is the rough thing. So Ruven Meshida loses the lead of the championship to Pascal Polans. Unsurprising, Polans consistent with the 3rd and 2nd place. Murno up to 2nd with that win. Meshida slipping to 3rd. We are able to usually get them in a little bit quicker than this. Bear with me. And here we go. They're coming in now. Get them all through. We'll do it in the order we've got. Here we go. There we go. Lucas Murno has arrived as well. So let's first start by talking to the race winner. Lucas Murno, congratulations. Just an incredible performance all round. Pole by half a second. Clearly, best performance. It seems like a foregone conclusion, but I'm guessing the car felt pretty good that afternoon. Oh, I don't know if Liz has Lucas know he's even been moved in. Let's try again. Let's go to Pascal. Pascal, solid work from you. Your best result with your new team so far. How are you feeling about the car and your chances this afternoon? Because obviously Cesario seemed like they had a really good package.
Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah, I think I realized quite early on in the race that there wasn't really anything I could do to keep up with at least Lucas, because he was just way too quick today. So yeah, I let him by and yeah, didn't really fight with him after the first battle we had, which I think was quite nice. But yeah, after this, I just let him do his own race, did my race, and yeah, I think I and also the team did the absolute maximum we could today.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. You know, obviously, based on provisional results, you have taken the lead of the championship by a single point ahead of Lucas. So at the minute, even though you've not been on the top step, consistency reigns. Is that kind of your approach to the season going forward? Is just be in the mix, or are you looking to try and push and get on the top step as well?
Well, I think everyone wants to win, and yeah, last race weekend I bottled my biggest chance so far. So yeah, it's hard to talk about consistency after these two races, but the point system we have, it really yeah, benefits you if you consistently finish in the top places, and well, that's the first goal, but also during the race, I think it's that the wins will eventually come to me or Axel. With the development, it's really really interesting because today Cesario was so quick, and I think next race SCMM will be quick if they don't forget the containers with the updates. And yeah, I think you just need to be in it to win it. That's the main approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, how are you feeling in terms of Kyle Army obviously returning after missing a season? What are your thoughts on that circuit?
I really like it, but I'm not too sure if it really suits our car development, because we normally have a bit lower downforce, but also lower track, and yeah, Kyalami is not really known for high top speeds. So it should be one of the circuits that suits us the least out of the calendar. So yeah, I think I'll aim for a podium, but I'm not down. I'm not. I won't say no to a better position in the end. But
I'm sh-
yeah,
I'm
podium
sure.
is the goal.
Absolutely. No, I'm sure you wouldn't. That's a solid result again this afternoon, Pascal. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to try again. Lucas, are you there? If you are there, I can't hear you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Here.
Lucas, congratulations. Great drive. I'm guessing the car felt pretty good today.
Yeah, for you, I never drove a so fast car like I drive today, and it was a great work with the upgrades. It's gonna be crucial since the car had a gain like 1 second after one race in the Melbourne. We took 1 second in the with fifth place in the qualifying, and this time I did 4 tenths quicker and the lap record as well in the WMSC in the Bahrain. So I'm happy with the result and happy with the progress. After all, we probably gonna see the teams getting better in the next races, but we enjoy the moment. We enjoy the car being quick. I did not believe that the car is gonna be so quick, but after seeing it, I became more confident with the car, and the pace of the tires was really good. So I'm quite happy with all. So it's time to try to stay ahead in the for the fight of the championship after last year losing a possible victory with the brakes. So it's a good redemption for me. And I'm very happy with Packley as well, that finally got his first podium after what happened with him in the Canada. Cesario took a great step to fight for the championship after uh, a good season last year, and I'm very optimistic now with the next races and what we're gonna try to discover with it. I'm pretty happy with everything today. My best race so far, and I hope I can have much more races like that.
Absolutely. I think that the leap in performance from round 1 to round 2 is incredible. And yeah, brilliant work by the team in terms of the choices of upgrades, and obviously great work from yourself and Peckley as well to be able to get the result. So very well done, Lucas. You are very much in the fight, and yeah, we expect to see you here again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Gabriel, congratulations on your very first podium doing WMSC. You know, we were very positive about your season last year with Potenza. It was great to see you get a drive with a top team for this season, and it started really well, seemingly. Yeah, how do you feel about this afternoon?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so sorry for my English devices. It's pretty terrible. I'm very happy with my ride and Lucas. First podium WMSC, first podium from the Cesario. At the end of the day, the car has a lot of potential, and I hope to meet the expectations of my team and the car. I training a lot with Lucas and make the setup as fast as possible, and keep improving, so that maybe we can win the championship, the constructors championship. Uh, it's amazing, for take this podium, make the car fast, and be giving the team and giving my all of the rest of the season.
You can very much tell that you've put in the hard work with Lucas, and yeah, you've adapted to your new team very well. And no worries about the English. I think you spoke very well. So yeah, congratulations, Gabriel. We'll hopefully see you on the podium again this season.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of round 2. So the development battle hearts up, the fight at the top of the championship hearts up, and in a couple of weeks' time, we head to a circuit that missed out last season, but is back again. Kyalami in South Africa returns, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you all so much for your time this afternoon. We hope you enjoyed the stream, and we will see you for the next race on 6th of April. Thanks very much. See you soon.